I'd like to introduce Jessica for the United States, who takes LDN for multiple sclerosis. Thank you for joining me, Jessica.
Thank you, Linda. I'm very happy to tell my story.
Could you tell me when you first started to notice MS symptoms?
Yes, in 1996, I got optic neuritis, and I felt like an icy veil was in front of my vision, and the optometrist that I went to said, well, it could be the first sign of multiple sclerosis. And at the time, I thought, well, that's terrible bedside manner, to suggest such a thing. But sure enough, that's indeed what it was. And then I had balance issues. I was bumping into walls, tripping over my own feet. And then I finally got an MRI in November of 1996, and it confirmed the fact that I had MS.
Mm-hmm. Were you offered any medication?
It was suggested that I take one of the. Well, at the time, I don't know that Copaxone was even invented. So it was one of the ABC drugs, Avonex, Betaseron, or well, I guess that would be Copaxone. I guess Rebis wasn't invented yet, but I declined because I preferred to handle it alternatively, which I did for many years. I did acupuncture and homeopathy, chiropractic, craniosacral, many different alternative healing body work methods to try to keep the disease in check.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but LDN is the first medication that I've ever taken for MS.
Before you started LDN, what kind of symptoms were you experiencing?
Oh, I had a whole gamut of symptoms. I had optic neuritis 3 times. The third time was double optic neuritis in both of my eyes. Excuse me. I lost the hearing in my right ear. My hands went numb. I was itchy. My face, my partial side of my face, the right side of my face, went into palsy. And I had vertigo, a terrible case of vertigo that kept me bedridden for some days. And it was just an ongoing cycle of symptoms, and then they would clear up, and then I would be fine for a couple of weeks, and then I would get another symptom. It was like a roller coaster ride with this RRMS. It was really quite scary, actually.
So before you started, how many weeks would you have free without some symptom playing up?
Oh, it was, no more than, I would say, no more than 3 months at a time.
Okay.
That would be without an exacerbation.
And how did you hear about LDN?
I'm not sure the original person. I live in the Mid-Hudson Valley of New York State, and it's a pretty alternative area. And so a lot of alternative therapies are talked about. And somewhere along the line, I heard about LDN. I asked my primary care physician at the time if she would prescribe it for me, but she would not. I think she didn't know enough about it. This was 3 years ago now. But she gave me a list of people who would provide, physicians who would provide. So I switched to a doctor who does prescribe for me, and she said, she herself, this physician, said she's seen patients get amazing results from LDN, and happily I'm one of those patients who's had an unbelievable journey with LDN.
So when you first started to take LDN, did you notice any introductory side effects?
The only thing I noticed was that my dreams were more vivid in the beginning, the first 2 or 3 days, and I thought that was very, very wonderful because I love to do dream work. And so I thought, well, if the only side effect is stronger dreams, I'll take it. But unfortunately, it didn't last. But I never had any other side effects from the LDN, and the dreams went back to usual.
Okay. And how long was it before you noticed any improvements with the LDN?
That's hard to answer because right from the start, when I started, I was pregnant with my second child, and while I was pregnant, my MS symptoms also abated because that's just something that happens when we're pregnant. We're healthier. But I never relapsed after my second child as I had after my first son that I had also during the MS. And I was just fine. So from day one, it's hard to say when I really noticed an effect, but I've had no new lesions, no exacerbations these 3 years on LDN since 2011, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel that my disease has absolutely stabilized, and no new remissions. It's very positive for me.
Well, if you were getting a relapse every 3 months or more, that was the longest you'd had. Not
Yes.
having one in 3 years is quite amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible, just incredible.
Mm.
And to have the disease, I feel that the disease was modified, in a positive way, and that, and my new neurologist said to me, I wouldn't change a thing in your treatment. So I think he's not my prescriber for LDN,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a feeling that he would be willing to if I needed him to, because he doesn't want me to change anything. He said, you're doing so well.
Oh, that's excellent. What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
I would say try it. The worst that can happen is it doesn't have an effect. It doesn't work for someone, although there's such a high percentage of success with LDN that that's unlikely, I think, but perhaps it wouldn't work for someone. Everybody's disease is different, and then onto something else, but with the potential that it could work. Why not give it a try? It's not expensive, it's oral, and it's highly effective for so many people. My advice would be try it. Give it a try.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, Jessica.
Well, thank you so much, Linda.